In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a sales script for business process outsourcing. And where all the information for this video comes from is actually another video that we created where we share a recording of a salesperson cold calling trying to sell business process outsourcing. Her focus is specifically in the area of accounts payable and accounts receivable. And in this other video, we actually play the recording of the cold call, and then we provide an analysis of what went well and what could have been better. And then I provide a recommended cold call script for that salesperson. And in order to create that cold call script, what I did is I took her sales script and I put that through our sales message brainstorming process to create all of these talking points. And then all of these talking points can be mixed and matched to create that sales script. So in this video, I'm actually going to go through each of these steps and show you what this process looks like and show you how I created all of these talking points for business process outsourcing. And the process basically starts with brainstorming and organizing the key details around the product that you sell. And what I recommend you do is try to think about what you sell as being like a box. And when the customer buys your product, they get the box. And I want you to think about what's in the box. What is everything they get in terms of features? And I know when you sell services, it might not even make sense to think about or talk about features, but I consider features to be all of the different things that the customer will get. So if you sell a service like business process outsourcing, what are the different things that you will do for the customer? What is the scope of service? So for this particular salesperson that we talked to, the features include that they will take over and help with the AP and the AR processes, provide a real-time dashboard, you get a dedicated account rep. So that's kind of what's in the box. You could probably go beyond that when you go through this process for what you sell. But once you've brainstormed what's included with your product, then I recommend you go one step further to think about how is what I sell different from the competition? And you can go a couple of different directions with this. First of all, you could think about how are you different from your direct competitors that sell the exact same thing that you sell. But in some cases, you might want to think about how am I different from the option to do nothing. One of your biggest competitors is the status quo. And if you sell outsourcing, your competition might be for them to not outsource to a provider, or your competition might be internal resources. So how are you different from that option? And in this example scenario, our differentiation is no setup time and costs. And then the next step in the process is to think about who are we creating this sales script for? Who is the target audience that we're going to be going after? What does the target audience look like that we're going to be communicating with? And you can think about a few different things when you're trying to think about who you should tailor your message for. You could create a message that's tailored to different industries. You might create a message that's tailored to a particular size of an organization. You might be talking to different departments inside of a business. You might be creating a sales script for different levels in the organization. But what I recommend you do if you're creating your first sales script or if you're just getting started using our approach, I recommend you create a broad sales message that you can use for everybody. And then you can come back when you're ready to get a little bit more advanced and get a more focused sales message. But a broad message might be creating a sales script for selling business process outsourcing to businesses. And for this example, we're going to use a target of business owners. And the next step in the process is to think about when we sell business process outsourcing to business owners, what is the value that we have to offer? And what we're looking for here are basically a list of improvements that we can deliver with our product or service. And we want to keep in mind the target audience for this sales message that we're going to be communicating with, and that being business owners. And what we want to do is we want to try to think about what is in it for the prospect. We want to answer the question of what's in it for me when we're communicating to these business owners. And to help you with that, I'm going to give you a list of the most common ways that most products and services help individuals and businesses. We usually can help to make something work better, make something easier, decrease the time it takes to do something, increase revenue or income, decrease costs or expenses, improve the customer's product, decrease risk, improve visibility or access to information. And with this list, what we can do is we can think about when we sell our business process outsourcing, does it help to improve any of these areas? And we can use these as a guide to think about what improvements we can deliver to our customers. and to the people we're trying to sell to. And here's another thing that you can do is you can bring back the features that you just brainstormed and bring back the differentiation and think about each of those items and think about, does this particular feature help to make something easier, to decrease time? Does this differentiation help to decrease costs or decrease the risk of something bad happening? So you can look at these one by one going through this list, and then that can help you to think of some improvements, such as our business process outsourcing can help business owners to simplify their AR and AP processes, can decrease the time they spend dealing with those processes, decrease the time it takes for them to receive payments, decrease delinquent payments from customers not paying. And the next step in the process is to think about pain points we can make go away. And our goal here is to think of between 3 to 6 different challenges or concerns that we can minimize, resolve, address with our product or service. And if we can think of pain points that are specific to the audience that we're communicating with, that will help us to improve how attention-grabbing our sales message is. And here's a trick that can make this step easier, is that we can actually bring back the improvements that we just came up with, because for each improvement, there's usually an opposite problem that goes away. If you help to make something work better, then there's a problem that is going to be decreased or resolved or minimized. And so what we can do is we can look at each improvement and think, well, what is the opposite of that improvement? Or what problem goes away when we create that improvement? Or what problem starts to happen if that improvement is not provided? So we can go through this list one at a time and then come up with basically an opposite list of problems that prospects that need our product or service might have or might be concerned with. And so the pain points for this script could be AP and AR can be intensive processes. AP and AR can be time-consuming and labor-intensive. It can take too much time to get customers to pay. There can often be a large amount of AP that's never recovered. And the next step in the process is to think about good questions to ask. I personally think that the best salesperson is the one that asks the best questions. And you might agree with that, but still might not know exactly what questions you should be asking or what question to ask in each particular moment when you're talking to a prospect. This process here will make it crystal clear what questions you should be asking with prospects. And we do that by creating 2 categories of questions. The first category is what I refer to as pain questions. If we came up with a good set of pain points in the previous step, we can use that to come up with an optimum set of pain questions, because for each pain point that the product fixes, there's a question that could be asked to see if the prospect has that pain point or has that concern. So what we can do is we can go through each pain point one at a time and try to think about what question could we ask to see if the prospect has that challenge or concern. And by going through these one at a time, we can come up with these pain questions. How do you feel about your current AP and AR processes? How important is it to spend less time on AP and AR? How helpful would it be to get customers to pay faster? How important is it to decrease delinquent customers? So that's one set of questions. I recommend you also create a second set of questions that I refer to as current state questions. These are questions that try to identify what is the prospect doing in the area where I have something to sell. So if you sold cars, current state questions would be, do you have a car today? What year is it? How many miles does it have? Do you own it? Do you lease it? How's it running? How many family members do you have? How much money do you owe on it? So for each product or service, there will be a unique set of current state questions. And I can't tell you exactly what current state questions that you should ask, but I can provide a guide that you can use to create your own current state questions. And regardless of what you sell, you should ask if the customer is currently using or has purchased what you sell, maybe who they bought from. Ask any details about the current systems or processes in the area where you have something to sell. You might want to ask about people in the organization. Ask any details about current contracts or expiration dates. There's likely sizing questions that you want to ask. For example, how many sites do they have? How many people do they have? How many particular systems do they have in place? You might want to ask questions to identify how the current performance is in the area where you have something to sell. Maybe the last time they looked at purchasing what you sell. So for this particular sales script, what does your AP and AR process look like? How much of your AR process is automated? Have you outsourced any of your processes? Are you working with a business process outsourcing provider? How many people do you have working on AP and AR? Do you have a lot of receivables? What is your average days outstanding for your AR? How much revenue are you not able to recover? When was the last time you looked at improving your AR and AP processes? And the last step in the process is to try to create a very brief customer example that we can include in our sales script. And so I'm going to give you 4 questions that you can answer. And if you answer these, then it's very easy to create a really quick example that you can share in your emails, on a voicemail, when you're talking on a cold call. And so first, can you think of a customer that you might want to mention? An optimum way to do this would be to create a name drop that is similar to the target audience for this sales message. So if you're creating a message for a particular industry, try to think of a customer example that is in that particular industry or the scenario is similar to the prospects that you're going after. And if you don't have the actual name of a customer that you feel comfortable sharing, you could use just a descriptive label for them. So if you, instead of sharing like a dentist office name, you could just say, we recently worked with a small family dental practice. Then you want to think about what problem did they have that you were able to help decrease, minimize, or resolve? What did you sell them to solve that problem? And then try to think of 2 different improvements that your product or service helped to create. And so going through that process, we worked with a startup business owner. They were spending too much time on AP and AR. We helped to solve that by taking over and automating their processes. This helped to decrease the time they spent on AP and AR and also helped them to decrease the payments that they were not able to recover. And so that's the process of brainstorming and organizing your sales message. And that's how I created all of these talking points to create that business process outsourcing sales script. And each of those steps create what we refer to as building blocks. There's a block for each of those steps, a value points building block, a pain points building block, a customer example building block. And what you can do is you can mix and match those building blocks to easily create a lot of different scripts. You can create a cold call script. You can mix and match those blocks to create an appointment script. You can use those same blocks to create an email campaign and create cold email messages. You could use those blocks to create voicemail messages. You could also use those same blocks for all of your different objection responses. So as you can see, the hard part is creating those blocks. Once you have those blocks, the easy part is to create all of your different scripts and emails and documents. Now, I'm actually not going to show you in this video all of the different documents you can create for a couple reasons. First of all, as you can see, there are a lot of different documents that you can create, and I don't want this video to be an hour long. And the second reason is that I've already created a video that goes through all of those documents and shows you what those different combinations look like. And if you want to watch that video, all you have to do is go to this playlist, The Smart Sales System, Sell Smarter, Not Harder, and the 4th video titled Writing Sales Scripts. I'll put a link to this in the description below. This video assumes that you have your building blocks and it just picks up where we're leaving off right here and it shows you what all of those different combinations look like. And the concept around creating these blocks and mixing and matching these blocks to create documents is actually where Sales Scripter comes from. When I realized that once I have these blocks and these bullet points, I can create a lot of different documents, that's when I had the idea to create Sales Scripter. So you can either go watch those videos and create those documents on your own, but another option you have is that you can actually use Sales Scripter to create all those documents. Because the way it works is there is an area of Sales Scripter called the Sales Message Builder that actually takes you through that same process that I just showed you, and it makes going through that process a lot easier. And then once you go through that process, there's a whole library of sales scripts and email templates. And what these documents do is once you have your sales message inside of Sales Scripter, it mixes and matches all of those different blocks to give you all of those different combinations. And that's how you end up with a custom tailored library of scripts and emails that are tailored to the product you sell, the industry you're working in, the target prospects that you're going after. And the sales script that I showed you here today for business process outsourcing, we've actually loaded that up into Sales Scripter. In Sales Scripter, we have a library of what we call preloaded messages, where we've actually gone through the sales message builder and answered those questions for a lot of commonly sold products. So we have scripts in here for accounting, recruiting, digital marketing, and we have that business process outsourcing script right here. So that's pretty much it. I hope that gives you some ideas and tips for creating your sales script. If you need more help or want more information, the best place to go is salesscripter.com. If you want more tips, there are plenty of videos with helpful sales tips There are also ebooks that you can download for free. If you want more information or have questions on the product of Sales Scripter, there are a lot of demo videos that show you all of the different features of the software. If you want to contact us, this is the best place to go. You can get our phone number, email address from our website. Thanks for being here and hope this was helpful, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.